I am all ears. The Ghost Fancast.
Hello, welcome to the I'm All Ears podcast with me, Alva. Right, we have a bit of an interesting topic today. I don't know how to even disclaimer this, but I'm going to try my best. So, the issues we're going to be talking about today revolve around a lot of conservative things that are happening in the world and the crisscross sort of things that are happening in Ghost. And also, we are going to be basically shit talking a lot of like conservative views and opinions. If this applies to you, I'm confused why you're even listening to us, to be honest.
Fuck off.
But if you are offended by being called out on bigotry, or you think
That's
that
a you problem.
you think that people are too woke or too just this ain't gonna be for you. So bye bye. See ya. Bye bye.
I recently made a tweet. I recently made a tweet with our last episode when we released in Para, and I quoted it and I said I stated how the inhabitants of the Ministry basement are proud to say that we are very openly anti-Trump and anti-fascism. We stand with DEI. We believe humans are not illegal, and we recognize the T in LGBT. If you disagree with that tweet, or you just disagree with what I just said, then I don't think this episode would be for you. Or actually,
Yeah.
it should be for you, but you're not going to listen, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel like you can listen to this and learn something, or maybe see something from a different point of view, and I'm all up for a healthy discussion. I'm not here to be like, go kill yourself, you fucking woke bitch, like sort of thing.
I have strong opinions. Like I will admit that I have strong opinions, and it bothers me when I see people like know a lot of the facts and have a lot of information and they still stand with that. That's what really bothers me. But if you are someone who maybe is like maybe kind of like leading towards these sort of things because like maybe that's all you know, or that's what you think you have to, or whatever, based on your environment, like the people that you're around, like if that's your situation and you genuinely want to learn more information, then come on in, we'll have a discussion. But I feel like a lot of the opinions I have are about people that are aware of everything, or like refuse to acknowledge any new information, and then just continue to just they choose to be ignorant and hateful, and those are the people I have really big issues with.
Well, you may be asking, like, guys, why are we even talking about politics? This is a ghost podcast. Well, Ghost has always been very political. And there's no denying that. There's so many people that say like, "Oh, we as a fandom tend to bring up things a lot of the time of like, what's happening in the current climate, or what's happening in Ghost, or like Ghost lyrics and things." And everyone's like, "Oh, you shouldn't mix politics with Ghost. I'm not here for the politics." And I'm like, "You're in the wrong fandom, because Tobias Forge himself brings up politics through music, through the things he says on stage, through even like down to the fucking pin he wears. Ghost is a very political band."
Yeah, just the whole concept of Ghost inherently is political because it's against the kind of Christian norms of like of what a lot of people are taught, because like even on the first album you have things like Stand By Him and all that there. It's all like people who are for some reason thinking that Ghost only recently got political with Impera clearly weren't paying attention the whole time, because he's been political the whole time,
just because like this more recent album was just a bit more on the nose doesn't mean this is like a new topic or a new conversation. It's just a little bit more, it's just a little bit more on the nose now. It was subtle before, but it was always there. It was always there, and that's what I'm just like I feel like a lot of people just kind of like it just goes over their head. And it's it also creates like a weird environment, because there's a lot of people that like that try to be super accepting, and like I'm saying that if if you're someone who's willing to like learn and like listen to other sides, then we can have a conversation. But I also don't think it's like super great when I see a lot of people say like Ghost is meant for everybody. This is supposed to be a safe space. We shouldn't
Yeah.
be focusing in on like these types of topics, or like shun people if they have these like views. Like it's supposed to be a safe space and blah blah blah. And it's just like I don't know. Like when I see that, I the first thing I think personally, this is me. This is what I'm saying personally. Um, it's just like, well, who do you think it's a safe space from?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
who why do you think this is a safe space? Who is it a safe space from? Like, why
Yeah.
why are people what are people afraid of that they need to like that they go to Ghost for comfort?
Yeah.
So
It's like I said, we've had discussions about this like for actually quite a couple of months of whether we would do this episode or not. And it's a mix of reasons. One of the reasons is because it seems to be this thing of we're seeing more and more people be so openly against everything Ghost stands for, but stand there and call themselves fans, especially with like the recent elections. Like I think you said, Cammy, like you saw more a lot of people show their true colors. It's like it's just weird to me because it's like that you've got this guy shouting on stage how he doesn't like this, that, the other, um, you know, type of opinions or
Yeah.
viewpoints, and that this guy's coming out in interviews saying we are pro LGBTQIA, we are pro, we are left leaning, we believe you bang who you want to bang as long as you're not hurting anyone. We don't
I have a
believe
very
Yeah.
liberal mother. My mother is
I have
very
a
liberal.
I have a very liberal mother every 35 fucking seconds. And then for, he's out here donating to trans charities and things. And for
Yeah.
for someone to see all this and see the lyrical content, to see all the messages put, like, even if it's been in merch and stuff at some point, and to see this and be like, I disagree with everything, but this song is this band is for me. But I'm also gonna like pick on all these other fans that like agree with the singer's point of view and make this an unsafe space for them. And we're seeing a rise in this, and it's
Yeah.
scary.
It's it's like the same people who I don't know if it's genuinely the same people or if it's just like similar, like the same people who are like who hate Tobias as a person, who thinks
Yeah.
who think he's like annoying, like hate all these like things about him, and like are like waiting for his downfall, but they're Ghost fans.
Hmm.
And I'm just like,
I never
what
understand
are
that.
what are you doing here, guys? Like, guys, what are we doing here? And it's like, yeah, the same thing. It's just like, um, with the recent election, I feel like a lot of people like, yeah, they're just like coming out. Like, there was like someone that I met at a ghost show, and like, got along. We talked online a few times, and like I ran into them to a few things, a few like ghost events and whatever. And it was like really, really cool. Like, all right, awesome. And then I have them on Facebook, and recently is when I realized that they were very, very pro Trump, and I'm like,
Hmm.
it was very
So
confusing because
strange.
they're like an alternative person, like dyed hair, tattoos, like
Yeah.
battle vest, everything, like the whole 9 yards. Like you would think like and especially with the bands that they liked, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like I like you we're on the same team, right? And then
Hmm.
like I'm seeing like their posts online, I'm like, I don't think we're on the same team. And it's
Hmm.
very and it's very weird, it's very confusing, and also very scary, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
then because this is what the problem is. At least one of the problems that I have is that like when you see this sort of thing, you just like you start to feel like a little weird when you're seeing people that you think are like on your side and support you and support your ideas and ideologies and your beliefs and everything. Like you think that we're all on the same team, and then you see it's someone who is super against everything you believe in, and
Yeah.
potentially is against your existence and identity,
Hmm.
because yeah.
think it's one of those things that it's like when people there should never be a safe space for fascists and Nazis.
Mm.
There should
Period.
never we're not it's okay to say, oh, it's a difference of an opinion, but it's not like we're not discussing, if we think infesticism or imperial is better, or if chocolate ice cream is better than vanilla ice cream. It's like your opinion is that people shouldn't exist.
Yeah, like it's not like a casual like disagreement, like, oh, I like this, and you like that, whatever. It's not like that. You're literally like, one person doesn't believe that some people should have rights.
Yeah,
They're
you're
like
standing behind a man who wants to deport 30,000 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay and have them held there indefinitely.
you have
People,
you're backing and supporting someone who is authorizing ICE to raid schools.
Yeah.
To get immigrant children, and even like and even talk about like revoking birthright citizenship, which
And the
is like
ethnic cleansing of Gaza.
Yeah, and then
like, this isn't just
also
a
like
difference of opinions anymore. It's a Nazi.
yeah, and then you also have how the government only acknowledges the two genders now, and they remove the T and LGBT. So they're completely discrediting the existence of trans people, and it's just like, oh my god. And again, you're supporting someone who that is something that they feel very strongly about, to the point where that was one of the first things they did, like the first week in office, is that's something that they did. Meanwhile, Ghost is out here. They were very open that they support the LGBT plus community, to the point where they performed a cover of a song every single show for a tour, because all the proceeds went to a trans charity. And you're gonna tell me that you have like the same values and everything, or that you're gonna support a band that supports something that you seem to be against? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and like it's I know I'm British, and I know people are like, I've got no right to talk about this, but
You're
like at the
British.
end of, I know I haven't mentioned it every fucking episode. But like it just doesn't make any sense. I don't have to be an American citizen to I'm trying to make a comparison. Like if I was to come in as a right winger into Ghost and um listen to 20s. I know we've gone kind of in depth on this in the Imperial episode, but obviously you hear the direct quotes that Trump has said about, grabbing people by the hoo-has. You open the album cover up and see, a picture of Trump, not depicted in a very nice manner. And you're going to feel like, yeah, this is the band for me. Like, imagine, like, okay, if we're going to put it in English examples, it would be like me as a left-wing person listening to music saying how great Nigel Farage is,
Yeah.
and we open the cover up and there's a picture of Nigel Farage depicted as Jesus. It just wouldn't. I wouldn't feel comfortable listening to that, and I don't get how it doesn't work the other way.
It's because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Just straight up, they're dumb. They don't understand. Because like I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like I have some of those things where it's like, since Trump's come in and he's bringing all these things, and like he tried to freeze the government payments and grants and stuff, which also affected food stamps and SNAP benefits and stuff like that there. And then you had a lot of like Trump supporters on TikTok crying about it, and saying, like, oh, my EBT card got stopped and my SNAP benefits got stopped. So, well, who did you think that was going? Did you think he was going to put an executive order to only have that affect people who didn't vote for him?
Yeah,
Like, he doesn't give a shit about you. You're not like, the people he cares about are the ones who are sitting up on stage with him, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all these other ones. Like, they're the ones he cares about. You're just fodder for everything else.
It's so wild seeing so many people that are like, they were literally like so blinded with like hate and just like this brainwash, this like brainwashed mind, that they're voting for something that will affect them, and it doesn't make any sense. I loved seeing. Well, I didn't love seeing, but I thought it was funny how there was a lot of people that were like showcasing like multiple videos from like Trump supporters who were like, their first videos were talking about like, hell yeah, make America great again, like go Trump, like they were super excited. And
Daddy's
then like,
home.
yeah, like daddy's home, like yeah, we're gonna make this country right. And then like a few videos later, like I saw this girl like talk about how like she got like immigration paperwork because like her husband's about to be deported back like to Poland or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like do you realize that the things that you're voting for actually do affect you? It's a fact that on election day, the amount of, or like it was like election day or the day after election day, where the Google searches for what is a tariff
Yeah.
and can I change my vote went like through the roof. And it's just like,
It's depressing.
why do you not know what you're voting for? Like at this point, what were you voting for? Because that's all he was talking about.
I mean, even if we're like going to be shallow and make this about Ghost, obviously, I'm just obviously this is a Ghost podcast, so I've got to try and bring up these points. But obviously, as a general picture, obviously, just let it be known that obviously we believe that this issue is not just about like our favorite band; it's a bigger problem. But at the end of the day, like these Ghost fans who are like voting for these things, it's making it harder to have their favorite bands accessible because of like import charges for like obviously all the equipment and things,
Yeah.
and just visas a lot because like a lot of the crew are international and get like the cost has gone up so much for touring as it is, and this is just going to make it 10 times harder, 10 times worse, and it's like you did that.
But then also, like, like I think it was a couple of days ago, that, like yesterday or the day before, Trump announced that he's going to make a like federal faith thing that's going to like stop the like bullying of Christians. I'm like, first off, who the fuck's bullying Christians? I don't know, we were in Rome, but but it's like, do you think that this organization is going to be really good with Ghost running around?
Well, imagine if they get banned.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
like
saying. Like, they're banning books. They're already banning books. The next thing after books is
Music.
movies and music. And he's already created a job for Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Voight, I can't remember his first name is, connected to Hollywood. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start, like, with the connection of this Christian thing, you see, like, a new version of the Hays Code come in.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least them try to bring a new version of the Hays Code in. And then that will also affect music, because then you will have a repeat of what happened with, what do you call it? He's got blonde hair and he wore makeup and stuff. It was in the kind of like perm. Oh god, the band's name went right out of my head. But anyway, during the kind of height of like satanic panic and stuff, they would bring these bands into like Congress meetings to have to sit and like be like,
oh, are you talking about Twisted Sister?
yes, Twisted Sister. Like, he had to go in and like explain. Like, we're not because we're like, he was talking about like the moral panic and the moral corruption of teenagers because of music like Twisted Sister and obviously like the satanic panic and stuff that started happening. And I always used to joke, like, I was like, gosh darn it, I'm so sad I missed the satanic panic. I didn't actually mean it, universe. I was joking. But like that's like, that's a real possibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know it sounds like I'm being exaggerated, but we did just see the richest man in the world stand on stage at the presidential inauguration and throw up 2 Sig Heils.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We are in strange times.
Didn't a priest do it recently as well?
Yes. And then you have these Christians talking on Twitter about like this, the bishop that was doing the service for the inauguration, and she asked that Trump show mercy to people, and they started talking about the sin of empathy. The sin of empathy?
And like, I saw so many people like dogging on that woman. Like just saying how she is pure evil, she's so disrespectful. When you like I saw this like video that someone made. It was like a compilation of like all of these like tweets of like all these different things that people were saying. It was tweets, and then it was like all these like right wing news outlets that were talking about like, oh, she was so out of line, like she was so disrespectful, and like it was just like all these different things, and then it would cut back to her actually speaking, and
Yeah.
like you couldn't be more respectful with everything, like you could tell like the entire time. It's like, this woman probably has some opinions about this man, probably some pretty strong opinions that
Mm.
uh she can't say out loud. And I feel like she handled that in the most respectful way possible. Like she's better than me.
Yeah.
She's way better than me. Like I like the fact that she was able to get on stage and look this man in the eyes and just ask for, just please be merciful when you think, when you're making decisions, like consider these other people. Like it was like literally the you couldn't have done it better and like kinder. And then people are out here just saying like she was evil. This is disrespectful. The
Mm.
Like
audacity.
as somebody who has a lot of like religious trauma and stuff like that, like hearing the way her talk about people, I was like, wow, I healed a little bit of something inside me there. That was really lovely.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was one was like, get testify, madam, ma'am. I don't know what the bishop term is, but ma'am, go on. If that'd been me, I would have taken my shoe off and yeeted it at him from that fucking podium. That's what I would have done. Both
Honestly, I'm
shoes,
just
like that guy, the Iraqi guy, did the Bush. Shout out to that
yeah.
guy.
Like I said, I'm just impressed, like the amount of composure and the
Yeah,
fact that but she still agreed to do it, because like I'm sure she easily could have said like I don't want to like even be in the same presence of that person. They could have gotten somebody else. They could have
Mm.
gotten somebody else that would have sucked his dick like right there.
yeah. It
But
was incredibly brave.
yeah, it was very brave, and like the just I keep gushing about it, but it's just like the amount of composure and like
Yeah,
that whole time. I just like I also have some religious trauma, but right there I had a little bit more respect. I had a little bit more respect that there are genuinely some good people in the Jesus fandom that are not
yeah.
pieces of shit and do think about other people.
Yeah. Um, Going back to some incidences with ghosts,
Mm.
Hmm.
the one that again, I don't know if this is. I think this was like I'm lost for words, as you can tell. Um, I feel like this was such a weird, bizarre incident to me because I feel like over here, people are a little bit more silent with how right wing they are. They will say like their right wing opinions, but they won't just come out and straight up say they're like a white supremacist or something like that. But
Depends on where you live.
depending, obviously the EDL does exist.
Yeah,
But when we were in LA and Cami was with me with this, there was this guy who was trying to like slightly queue jump us in the VIP um
Hmm.
line, which is why he stood out to us in the first place and was like, bit weird, okay. It turns out later on that someone else had met this guy and said, like, oh, we've been hanging about, like, and he seemed like a chill dude. Until I found he had a YouTube channel where he was basically a white supremacist. And he was, I mean, it's a bit looking back now, it's a bit like, ugh, because I think the guy
Well,
who he was fighting was like an Israeli IDF member. But nevertheless, he was fighting a Jewish guy. And it's like you're just outright saying, like, yeah, I'm a white supremacist. And you're at a ghost show.
it's so strange.
like I said, it just doesn't make any sense, and it's like it's the fact that what was kind of scary, or I don't know if scary is the right word, but just kind of like shocking, I'll say, was just like the amount of people that were like pretty quiet about it, and then as soon as the election happened, they were very loud.
Yeah,
That was like, because I remember there was someone that I followed, like we were moots and everything on Twitter, and like I know that we liked like the same music, and we interacted in a few comments, and like on election day they were super like stuck in Donald Trump's dick online the entire time. Funny enough, having a Terzo icon as their PFP, which I thought was so ironic. I
It
was
just
like,
drives
oh
home the fact that they're dumb. You know,
yeah,
like like these people think that like there's no they're the type of people that are like, oh, there's no politics in art, no, like, or in music and all this. It's like art inherently, all art is political. There is an agenda behind all art, no matter like because the person making it will put their own agenda in it. You know?
pretty much all forms of art in some way or another are political statements, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not. Everything is some sort of political statement, even if people try to say, oh well, it's not political. It's just like, well, if you look, if you just look just a little bit more than just surface level, you'll see it. You'll see it. That's
Like
the
even a
problem.
movie like Saw. You know what I mean?
Well,
But Saw is like, because if you look at Saw on a surface level, it's just a torture porn movie. But you actually look at the
mhm,
plot, it's a man that got fucked over by the medical system who is then now, like I think the whole
mhm.
second movie is literally about a healthcare insurance
Yeah,
company.
it was the sixth movie.
Yeah, it was one of them, and then they had that other one where he was, I think it was X or it was one of the newer Saw movies where he's like
Mhm.
torturing people who brought him to this place under the pretense of trying new drugs on him, but
Yeah,
there
it
was
was.
literally not. Yeah,
Yeah, that was Saw X. I'm sorry. I have a weird fascination with the Saw
I
movies,
love
even though
no,
I'm not a
I get
fan.
it. No, I get it,
But
but
no, but like no,
even
literally like literally like the sixth movie when he's literally attacking like the CEO of healthcare. I'm like, did Luigi watch this movie? And was it time?
no, but then you have movies as well like Dawn of the Dead, you know,
hmm
which I know he didn't initially set out to make it like it wasn't initially set out to be political. Is it Dawn of the Dead, the first one, the black and white one? They're coming to get you, Barbara. That one,
Yeah.
because like the
Yeah.
last guy that lives is a black guy, who is then instantly shot by the white guys coming to kill all the zombies. They don't even
hmm
check to see if he's actually a zombie or not. Just because he's there, they shoot him. You know?
It it's back to what I said earlier, that just because like more recent media is a little bit more on the nose about it doesn't mean this is a new topic.
Yeah.
Uh, like they have to be more on the nose because so many people just don't get it. But it's always been there. Just because it's now more noticeable doesn't mean it never existed.
I mean, Pink Floyd's The Wall has existed since 1980.
Yeah.
hmm
And that is like intense. Like,
But like, those Night of the Living Dead, sorry, is the one with that coming to get you. Dawn of the Dead was George A. Romero's commentary on people mindlessly wandering through malls. You know?
hmm
Um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a anti-animal cruelty movie, and also
yeah.
established the final girl,
hmm
trope for horror movies. Candyman is a movie about gentrification. Then you have the really on the nose ones like Get Out, Us, and Nope. And it's just like you can't just sit and listen to like it's one of those things like, oh, I just turn my brain off when I'm listening to music, or turn my brain off when I'm listening to music. Turn your brain on, for the love of God.
I mean, there's a whole thing we could go into about media literacy and it being
Yeah,
fucking 6 feet, 12 feet, 35 feet under
yeah,
right
it's
now.
Yeah,
it's
I could confidently say that media literacy has died a horrible death, unfortunately.
Um,
Um,
it's depressing.
I'm gonna put a tinfoil hat on at the minute.
Yeah,
With like how Trump got rid of that whole Department of Education thing, and it's like, schools are getting less funding, and like,
mhm.
yeah.
isn't that just? I feel like Tobias
That's
said
not a
something.
tinfoil hat. That's not a tinfoil hat.
No, but
The
like,
removal of education is literally part and parcel with fascism. It's to
well,
make you
yeah,
stupid.
because so that you're easy to control.
Yes, it's 100%. That's why they don't want like critical race theory being taught in
Mm.
American schools, because then people start to question, because also as well, I think a lot of people like the civil rights movement wasn't that long ago, So you're going to have history books about critical race theory with pictures of people who are still alive.
Mm.
And somebody's going to open that and go, is that my granddad? You know, like...
It's just sad, especially because like with like the wave of like banning books from like curriculums and like even just like just make it harder to access, and it's just very funny, well, not funny, but interesting
If you didn't
how
laugh,
like
you'd cry.
a lot of the books that are being banned are books that are basically like talking about, unfortunately, what is going on right now. The fact that that Fahrenheit 451 is a banned book is insane.
And
Insane.
1984.
Yeah, insane. It's just like, oh my god, especially Fahrenheit 451, because that entire story is about how books were banned because they didn't want people to be smart enough to realize, oh my god, everything that's going on is really fucked up, actually.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then they're literally it's becoming a reality now, and it's just, oh my god.
It's weird to me that like Harry Potter was on the list because of witchcraft. I was like, what is this? 1786.
Weirdly,
Yeah.
whenever Harry Potter was actually released, the same argument was done. It was taken out of a lot of schools because
Yeah.
of the magic in it.
I
mean,
actually
I personally think it should just be banned because J.K. Rowling's a
Oh,
massive
yeah.
turf.
That's what I was about to say.
And also, they're shit.
yeah.
She literally
Yeah.
has a black wizard called Shacklebolt.
Cho Chang.
Fuck off.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons to not
Seamus
not like
Finnegan,
Harry
the only
Potter.
Irish character in the Harry Potter franchise, obsessed with blowing stuff up. I see you.
In
Joanne.
Hogwarts Legacy in the game, there's hold on, what's the person called?
Was a man or something.
Yeah, it's something like, hold on, Serona, the first transgender character.
Yeah.
Serona Ryan.
Yeah, I actually remember. Fun fact for everybody. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast officially. I went to a all girl private Catholic school. When I went to high school.
Lesbian breeding factory.
Literally. We were. But yeah, I remember someone I sat next to in class that she wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter. Like legitimately, she wasn't allowed to read it because her mother said that it's witchcraft, and like she was a very like what's the word I want to use? I don't know if I want to say isolated, but she was just very like outside of the realm of reality. Like she lived in a different reality than the rest of everybody else. Yeah, it's the fact that so many, it's like I thought that was a weird like phenomenon, and then like but then like now I feel like so many people are coming out and with that same like ideologies, and I'm like, huh, interesting. And now they want that to be the norm.
It's like you have Kanye West on Twitter, clearly on too much of one thing and not enough of another thing. And he's sitting saying, I'm a Nazi, and he posted it, he added a t-shirt to his store that literally has a swastika on it, and it's called HH. And you're like, what crazy universe did I wake up in? Like I have this theory. This is my tinfoil hat theory. I have a theory that the cartoonization of Nazis in movies, like being the villains in Indiana Jones, and being, killed in like video games like Wolfenstein, and being villains in things like Hellboy, and they always kind of like then you have like Christoph Waltz and Inglourious Bastard, that's bingo, that kind of like the kind of Hollywoodification of Nazis as the villains in movies. I feel like kind of blinded people to what Nazis actually were.
Yeah.
So the Nazis were the people in these green uniforms, goose stepping, and getting beat up by Indiana Jones and all this here, and completely kind of forgot the ideology. That they kind of forgot that they weren't Nazis didn't just kill Jews. Like that wasn't the only thing that they did, and I feel like that kind of that's how this all slipped back in again, because people weren't watching for it, because one of the first things Nazis did was they went to a medical school, and it was focused on sexual health, and it was one of the kind of schools that studied transgender people and all that there, and destroyed all the research.
Mm.
That was one of the first things they did, and they're doing it again.
Yeah.
You know,
I just get very shook because I don't know if you can sort of back me up on this, Alana. As someone in Europe, the good old country of Europe, according to most Americans,
yeah,
weirdly, on a low like this, it would probably happen, but I'm talking on a very small scale. You wouldn't really see anyone going around England parading around with a swastika on a flag, because it's just that it would just go against all our history. But when I see these clips coming out from America of was it Chicago or somewhere where they've got the massive flags with the swastikas on, and they're going around literally doing CKLs and literally parading with it. That just blows my mind that it's almost become a brand to them. Also, it's not even original. Once again, taking something from someone else's culture. If you're gonna be racist, do it originally. I'm joking, obviously not.
Well, it can't be. That's the whole point of being I've seen a great quote. I think it's a Star Wars quote, actually. It's fascism and totalitarianism is unnatural because it wants everybody to be the same. That's unnatural. That's why it feels so wrong to people that have a brain, because it's this idea, this forced unification of everybody. But it's a specific kind of everybody, like white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, or Christian white people. And it feels unnatural because it is unnatural. And that's why when you see these people wandering around with swastikas, flags, and throwing up a sig heil and all that, it feels unnatural and it feels unreal because it is unnatural and it isn't real. And they can't, and they're so uncreative, and they're so unnatural that they can't create. They don't have that in them. It takes to be different, and it takes to think outside the box and be kind of against the grain to be creative. Even for religions, you know what I mean? Because I know, because the swastika was stolen from Buddhism, and flipped.
I don't. It doesn't make sense, but it would make sense if these people who are doing this had German ancestry, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
Which just, I don't know why that baffles. I literally just can't get my head around it at all. The fact that this is even happening again.
Yeah, I was didn't we fight a whole war?
Yeah,
about
to stop this.
These are the bad guys.
Yeah.
We did all that, and now you're just letting them win again. You're just letting them come back. They won't win, because I will tell you this: the easiest way to stop a Nazi is to punch them directly in the face. They're all pussies. That's it's fine to punch a Nazi because they will shut up. You know what I mean? Because there's that one guy whose name I can't even remember, and I'm not even going to attempt to remember it. He was everywhere, a mouthpiece, and he was a Nazi. He talked about Aryan, having an Aryan race and all this here. And he was on doing an interview one time in New York, and this black fella run up, punched him so hard in the face, and run off, and then he's never been seen since.
Oh yeah, I think I know who you mean.
You know what I mean? Just do that.
I mean, going back to kind of the, you can't listen to a type of music if you've got this opinion, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
This isn't just even with the Ghost Fandom. Look at the Dead Kennedys, where they've got this whole brand of Nazi punks fuck off, saying you can't be punk and be a Nazi, because again, that's everything that punk isn't.
Yeah.
There's weirdly been a rise in a lot of people in the alternative community that are coming out being that they're alternative and conservative, and it's just huh? I've seen so many people not personally, but I've seen so many people blow up where that's their brand, and that they're goth and conservative. Or I saw someone had a sign with a hand-drawn bat on it, and it said "Goths for Trump." and there was this video of this girl who she was like dressed in like all black, and she was really pale, and she was like eating donuts, and she's like, oh, she was like talking about like giving herself a treat because like America's about to be a good country again or whatever, some bullshit. And it's just like, oh my god. Jesus.
I seen a one girl saying that she was really happy Trump won because $5 paperbacks coming back, guys, and it's that meme. There isn't going to be any $5 paperbacks, you stupid
You
slut.
stupid slut.
You know what I mean? There's not going to be any books. Like
Yeah. But hey, eggs is cheap now, right?
I saw people egging Benjamin Netanyahu's car in America, and I was like, that's a very expensive protest, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really depressing. It's I do like the fact though that like the scene, it's one of those things as well where it feels like, and I know that it's depressing because it is, but I will say what happens is there is more good people than bad. There always will be more good people than bad because humans want to live and they want to survive and they want to, like it's just a basic human nature is everybody wants to just kind of exist and survive and enjoy life, and like it's this whole tactic that's happened with all of these executive orders. It's a military tactic called shock and awe, which is basically to overwhelm people, to make them feel like that there's no hope,
Yeah.
Because they talked about it a lot whenever Trump came in. Before Trump came in, all of his advisors and all were saying it on, CNN and all that day. They were talking about there's going to be shock and awe. And that is a real, like, military tactic, which is you basically overwhelm your enemy to the point where they think they can't do anything, Because the human brain can only take in so much information before it literally kind of just goes, okay, hang on. What the fuck is happening? And that's why that first week felt so insane with all of the executive orders. Like every day there was like 7 new executive orders, and they were all as insane as the last one, or more insane than the last one. But like there's they had one executive order that came in that was to move female trans prisoners to male prisons. That one's already been blocked by a Reagan era judge.
Yeah.
But yeah, a Reagan era judge is telling you you're wrong. We're in the deep end. And then the birthright the birthright citizenship has already been blocked again by another Reagan era judge.
Yeah, how bad you gotta be?
Yeah, and then there's like you have different states that are suing the federal government for a lot of these things that are coming. Like we're just in the beginning of it, and it is going to feel like people aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
But it will change because we survived it once. We'll survive it again. You can't kill gay people. We won't go away, Like, queer people can outlive fascism long after it's gone,
Circular.
Like, circular nature. But like, trans people survived Nazis before. Trans and queer people survived Nazis before. We'll survive them again.
Yeah.
I recently had a conversation with someone. This is one of my friends. She ended up moving out to California with her fiance. And that was just like a general choice she wanted to make. And she was like asking, how I'm holding up in Florida and everything. And I was like, despite everything, I did make a life here, and I do have a lot of like friends and things I do here. And I told her, I was like, the only way to make Florida better is for good people to stay and make it better. And I feel like that applies like just in general. It's like the only way to make something better is that you can't like run away from it. You just have to, do what you can. You do what you can. You can't run away and hide and let the bad people do what they want to do. You have to, in your own way, survive and fight where you can. But I don't believe in violence unless it's punching a Nazi.
No, yeah, violence is violence is like a thing of like, well, to be honest, it's like, I don't believe. I believe in violence because I've noticed the violence seems to solve a lot of things.
Yeah, I think
like
well, I think to
fascism.
the extent well, I think it was like to the extent of I think I made a comment about how isn't it interesting that like I didn't get what I wanted, but I don't have an urge to storm the fucking capital of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I had someone that I used to like do like plays with in high school that said like, "Oh, so you're just gonna like let a supposed dictator take over?" And it was just like, well,
What am I meant to
like
do? You want me to go on
why
my
you
own?
yeah first of all, why are you jumping to that conclusion? And like second of all, it's just like like if I genuinely did want to do that, do you know how like quick I would have been shot and killed? Like,
Yeah.
do you know how easily like how quick that would have happened? Like, they wouldn't even like let me within like 100 yards of like the property. Like, this wouldn't happen. Like, so if people wanted to do that, they would get killed instantly.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
being blunt with that.
I will say
And
as
then
well, talking about guns and stuff like that there, I did see people protesting. I can't remember what state it was in. They were protesting, and there was somebody there that had an AK-47, and they had like a trans flag on the cartridge, like
Mm.
Mhm.
the bullet case thing. And all of these right-wing people were like, look at this! Armed trans people! And I'm like, oh, suddenly you don't like people with guns.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
it's the hypocrisy that
Yeah.
really annoys me as well, and it's just like
Like going back to Joanne Rowling, she posted a thing today about Trump signing an executive order to stop trans women being able to participate in female sports. First off, completely ignoring trans men.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Second off, and she was like talking about, oh, by protecting women and all this here, and it's like he's literally been accused by at least 25 people of sexual assault.
Yeah, that photo really made me uncomfortable because it's like
Incredibly.
a convicted felon for who's had all these sexual allegations around a bunch of children, like
Hmm.
young girls who are watching him sign this document.
Who Jeffrey Epstein said was his best friend.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like you may as
You know?
well just let fucking Jimmy Savile come back from the dead
Yeah.
and carry on working on kids' TV again.
Also, as well, here's the thing. Wild idea. If a felon can be president, felons should be allowed to vote.
Exactly.
And felonies shouldn't affect people's jobs anymore in America. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah. If you are allowed
Depending on the felon,
if
but
you're allowed to have 36 felonies against you, like you are a convicted felon,
yeah,
and you're allowed to hold the highest job in the country, then you should be able to do anything you want as a felon.
Yeah.
exactly.
With that logic, you're saying that this is what should happen, but no, you're a hypocrite.
It's also like that thing I seen. It was a clip on TikTok, and it was saying about if Jesus was alive today, would he be allowed? Would you let him in America? And the husband went, "Yeah, of course." And his wife then said, "If he came through the legal channels."
Yeah, with the right paperwork.
And it's like, Jesus can come in if he's legal.
Yeah.
And also, can I just say, right? I'm not like I'm very surprised that Trump is as popular as he is with Christians, because they will point at the people like Lady Gaga and be like Antichrist, Beyonce, Antichrist. All these people,
Mhm.
Antichrist. A man who literally, if you read anything Antichrist in the Bible, Trump fits those descriptions,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and not a fucking peep out of them. And you're like, guys, clearly you haven't read the book you're so fond of. Like, fake Jesus fan.
I think I also saw like a video that just said like it was like this. I think it was like a video essay about like conservatives on Instagram or whatever, like super like crazy, or I don't know, it was Christians, super crazy Christians on Instagram, where it's just like, oh, don't stop, or the devil will take you, or the devil doesn't want you to see this, the devil,
Yeah.
God is speaking through me, like crazy people like that. And there was this one woman that was showcased in that video essay where she was saying how like um that she was like voting for Trump and she supports Trump because he understands like God's values, and he's going to bring God and Christianity back into this country, and blah 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 blah. And then a cut to a clip of someone asking Trump like what his favorite Bible verse is, and he's like, I don't really want to talk about that because I think that's like personal or whatever. And it's just like,
Just pick one.
it's just
Anyone.
and kind of bringing this back again, one of the reasons that we're talking about this on a Ghost podcast is because like Ghost in itself, I would consider like an alternative space. It's an alternative music. A lot of people that are into Ghost for the right reasons are alternative, and it's just it's just a lot of conservative and super uber Christian people are like kind of like hiding in these spaces, and it, it's just something I feel like needs to be talked about and discussed because people completely miss the plot, and it almost just becomes like people are only getting involved in these scenes like on such a surface level. Like they think they could put on the clothes and like put the music on in the background and think they'll be accepted by everybody. And no, I don't. I personally, I don't like that. I don't like
No.
people. I feel uncomfortable when I have people kind of like hiding in plain sight in a place that I love and feel safe in. Like I've met many friends here. I've met many friends in this space, and I've met so many kind people, and it's very disheartening when I see so many people that are not as kind and have such opposite views, just like trying to fit in amongst everybody. And it's just like, meh.
I want to talk about as well how obviously we've mentioned a lot of what's going on in America because it's like the forefront and also seems to be the wildest at the minute.
Mhm.
But like I think I said this off record before that with the power that America has on a global scale, because a lot of people, especially like people I know over here, have always been very like, oh, well, that's America, it's not us. But they don't realize that it has like a knock-on effect because if you allow like essentially the self-claimed best country in the world, most powerful country in the world to get away with stuff like this, it opens the doors up for people from right-wing political parties in other countries to be like, well, if they can do it, so can we. And obviously, like over here, you've got like the rise of people voting Reform UK and kissing Nigel Farage's ass. Even people who I knew who were sort of more left-centered or central are now leaning towards things like Reform UK. And then even going to Sweden, there was obviously this week the horrible incident where a gunman shot up a school, and then it was horrible because there was this like question of like, was it a citizen, like was it basically the question of was it a white guy or was it an immigrant? And it turns out it was a white guy, and it's led to believe that because this was at an adult education center where a lot of immigrants take tests to get towards citizenships, language exams and things like that. There was a video that came out that a victim, not a victim as such, but someone who was there was locked in a toilet, and
No,
you could hear them shout, "Get out of Europe," sort of thing. So it's safe to say that this was potentially a racially charged, hate crimed, attack. And this is happening in Sweden, obviously where, if we're going to link it back to Ghost, where Tobias is from. So like it's happening. The rise of these incidences are happening over here as well. In Germany,
you also have the ADLF, or I think that's
yeah, is that the
but
one in Germany?
I will say, I do enjoy the German government being like, it doesn't matter if they come second, none of us are working with them.
Yeah.
So hats off. The Germans are like, listen, no, we've done this before. No.
The fact that Elon Musk is getting involved and trying to put his hands in all these little pies. Luckily, some countries are trying to put laws in place that he can't interfere anymore. But like he zoomed in at one of the German, what's that political party called again?
ADLF.
Yeah, he zoomed in on their on one of their conferences and is getting involved there.
Did you see the photo someone took of one of the flags over his face looking like a Hitler mustache?
Yeah.
I was like, I bet the person who took that went, oh, fuck yeah.
Going back to Ghost as well, especially we're going to go back a little bit to Terzo's time. And obviously he was very, I say he is in Tobias.
Terzo / Tobias.
Do you remember when like Terza was going out going, he is not the fucking president, and this is an
And then
evil man.
someone
And
yelled, "Go back
go
to
back to
Sweden!"
yeah. And I was just
That's
like,
a-
the
Like, bro, do
balls.
you know what band you're here? Or
Exactly.
You
So
know,
this
you
isn't-
came to the show. You know who these people are, and then the moment that they're like, yeah, I don't fuck with this guy. Go back to Sweden. Go back to where you came from.
Oh, it's so ridiculous, isn't it? But like
Uh,
Tobias has been like seen outside of the White House during this era with the pin on his badge, like with the
Ye-
anti-Trump pin, and
yeah.
like I say, he's been saying all these things like he's not the fucking president, and song is about an evil motherfucker, and
Mhm.
his corruption of money and everything. And then it's like this was back in like what 2015? No, sorry, it would have been 2016, 2017, wouldn't it? And then
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
we're back to square one.
Yeah.
He's
He's
gonna be
gonna have a lot to
warm this
say.
tour.
Yeah.
I just again, I thought it was insane how like this like again like this random like mutual like friend I had on Twitter that came out of fucking nowhere being like super pro Trump, super conservative, like super hateful like views and everything, and they literally had a Terzo icon. I was like, are you insane right now?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I really hope that the next tour we're just gonna have 20s Griffwood and Mummy Dust
hmm
repeat. Mainly
You
Griffwood
know,
because my personal reasons.
You know, it's funny. You know how I mentioned before how like I met someone at a show and like I met them at other things and then I found out they were like super pro Trump. You know, it's
Yeah.
funny. That same person, they always cosplay specifically as Meliora ghouls. That's their number one cosplay is a Meliora ghoul, and I'm like, it,
Fuck me.
I'm just like it. It's like just the plain ignorance that just like baffles
Yeah.
me sometimes.
Anti-intellectualism is the tool of fascism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like be stupid is like I have that quote from Tobias where he said, "There's almost this there's this almost outspoken like mantra of let's be stupid, because that's so much more fucking comfortable." He said, "You know, it's like let's just be ignorant." And what actually ends up happening is that because we seem to collectively just decide this, everyone follows it. He replied when asked in reference to the corruption of the American dream in his lyrics. And he added that the Western world is going through a very similar time everywhere. It's just that we don't really have a Trump anywhere else but America. We don't have a GOP. We don't have Marjorie Taylor Greene. But there are a lot of things that are happening in America that are actually happening all over Europe, which matches what you just said as well. But then also you have a literal elected official sitting in Congress shouting the T slur.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And any other job, she'd be fired. You know?
What's kind of like jarring about all of this is that like we're now at a point where again whenever I make a comment on something, I'm just stating my own personal opinion about it. I'm an idiot in most cases, but it's the fact that I don't remember what conservatism like looked like before the Trump era. Like I genuinely don't remember because like it just felt like people who just kind of like got along, like maybe they just viewed things a little bit differently. And then when Trump came along, there was like this great divide and like
Yeah.
these people just came out of like it felt like people just came out of nowhere being like raging like racists and like homophobes and like all these like different things, and it's just like I don't remember what they were like before that. There's so many people who made this like their entire personality, and because he's like in office or because he exists as like an entity and people don't feel afraid to like showcase like these like inner hatreds that they have within themselves. And then when Americans aren't afraid to show this, then other countries will start to not feel as afraid to show this and not afraid to do and say things that maybe previously would be looked down upon and frowned upon. And that's why it's very important to like kind of like talk about and open up this like kind of conversation, just
Yeah.
because the longer this goes on, the less that these people feel afraid to show this darker side to them, and who knows what will happen at that point.
You can
it's
directly
very
link the kind of upward tick of fascism with his first win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can't really see that. And you said about what conservatives and stuff were like before. They were always like this. They were just a bit more subtle about it.
Yeah,
He's
that's
just
what I'm
ripped the
saying. It's just
mask
like it was.
off. You know what I
It's like
mean?
I don't remember what public conservatism like looked
It's
like.
always been this, but they did it in a more like
Mhm.
again bringing up Reagan. He had his war on drugs, which was more aimed at people of color. It disproportionately targeted people of color, and also he tried to ignore the AIDS epidemic, which caused the death of thousands of people. You know, it's
Yeah.
always been this. It's just they did it in a more subtle way that sounded a bit more friendly for the news time. Whereas Trump is an idiot and doesn't know how to
Yeah.
be subtle. He's as subtle as a brick to the head. He just
Yeah.
says it because he can't be any other way, and he ripped the mask off of conservatism, and it's always been this. It's that Scooby Doo thing. It's that Scooby Doo meme. Pulls the mask off. Who is this Nazi? And pulls it off. Oh, it's the same guy. Yeah. You know,
Yeah. But it's also just like insane, just because like I say this from personal experience because I live
Yeah.
in Orlando, Florida, and most places that I drive to now, there are giant Trump banners and posters everywhere. Like I visit one of my best friends like kind of lives out in the middle of like fucking nowhere. And every time I drive to her, there's like a bunch of like these like it just looks like these little pop-ups, like someone just brought a trailer out into a field and it's just filled with like these Trump flags and everything. And it's like there all the time. It's like a permanent thing. And then also like on the interstate, the famous I-4 that everyone hates.
Yeah.
Going on a interstate, there's this giant mural, and it's like a concrete mural, like it's like cut out in the shape and everything. It's a Donald Trump giving a thumbs up, and you see it every time you drive on the interstate.
Ugh.
And it's like on like it's like I said, it's a concrete. It's like multiple people contributed to like putting this together, and so like I literally see his face and his name everywhere, and it just it sickens me.
Where was
I
that?
think it.
There was a TikTok of somewhere, and it wasn't even that long after he got sworn in, and it was like a grocery store, somewhere, and they like put like above the melons there was like an AI picture of Donald Trump riding a cat with a gun with an American flag, and it's like the European mind cannot comprehend what is going on. But it's like,
Oh
why is that
God.
in your grocery store? We don't see Keir Starmer like buy the fucking carrots.
No.
But do you want to know what's weirder about like what I said about the all the Trump stuff around? Is that it has been around like since like he first got elected, and it just stayed. So it's just become a staple of like driving
God.
through certain parts of
So
Florida.
strange.
This is just always here now.
Can I just say, one of the like outside of everything else that's awful about him, can I just say I think it's so strange that the new face of fascism is an overweight, nearly 80-year-old man with a bad tan and a really bad
Very bad
toupee,
fan. Really
and who
bad.
has a really bad dementia lean. And you're like, this is superior man?
It's the fact that he looks like a caricature, that when people when people like draw him in like different cartoons,
Yeah.
they're like they try to find ways to make it kind of like out there, but like he actually looks like
It's like that Family Guy clip where he says, "What are you doing, Donald Trump?" And he's like, "That's not Donald Trump. That's a squash." And he just cuts the
It's
camera,
like,
and it's literally like this plain squash on the desk. So wait, if Trump's here, then where? If the squash is here, then where's Donald Trump? And then it cuts to Donald Trump trying to go after Meg, and she's like backing away off the couch off of him, and you're like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" But I just find it so strange, like, because like as well, this is what I always find weird about Hitler. Like the Aryan race is supposed to be tall, athletic, blonde, blue eyes, and then you have Hitler who's like 5'4", can't paint, black hair.
When women are insecure, we just bitch about it like each other. When men are
Yeah.
insecure,
They
they
had to make
make
it their whole
concentration
personality.
camps.
I can't get these fucking trees. Fuck it, I'm going to kill everyone. You know, like, it's... I just find it so strange, because, like, they're looking at this, like, it's like... I remember, I can't remember who said it, but I seen this guy saying that Donald Trump is a poor man's rich person, you know?
Yep.
Because if you
Yep.
look at his house and all in New York, his house is covered in gold, you know?
It's so tacky.
He's, like, so incredibly tacky. Because, like, you always have these people who talk about really rich people. And they're how, like, you can't tell really rich people because they dress down, you know? Whereas tacky rich people, you can just tell a mile off. Like Donald Trump, like his entire house is covered in gold, and I was talking about how rich he is and all this here.
It's what a poor man thinks a rich person is supposed to be like.
Yes, exactly. And
covered in gold and diamonds and having the best of everything, and it's just like
and that's why, like, a lot of lower educated Americans became Trump supporters, because they were like, that's the kind of guy we'll listen to because he's really rich. And it's like, this guy's been bankrupt 4 times at least. He's an awful businessman. Awful. You know? Like, I can't remember who said, again, I can't remember who said this, because I've seen so much, and it's all filled in my head. But somebody said, basically, like, if you look when Trump got originally elected, and when he beat Hillary, he doesn't look happy about it. You know? He looks a bit like, oh shit. Because what Trump wanted was, he wanted a job on Fox. So he could sit for the next 4 years and complain about Hillary. You know? That's what he wanted. He didn't think people would be stupid enough to believe him. And then they were.
There, there's an old clip of Trump even saying, like, I think at one point, he was like openly like Democratic at one point, and then he said like, oh, if I ever ran for office, I would run Republican because they're easier to fool or something. Like there's a clip of him actually like saying something along those lines, and then people are just like, oh my god, he's looking out for us, and it's just like, oh my god. Like, I remember when it was like first going on, and I was like, this is a joke, right? This is a joke. And then I was like, oh my god, it's not a joke. Oh my god, it's not a joke. Oh my god, he's actually gonna win the fucking election. It's like, it's never about who was more qualified. It was always about, which one's a man, which one's a woman, which one represents hate, which one represents not that.
Yeah. It's easier to hate than it is to try and accept people. And it's just like read books, be educated, look deeper into things. Like, yes, it can be hard, and it can be a lot to take in, and it can feel overwhelming. But you will be so much better guarded against, and also as well, everybody can fall for propaganda. You're not safe from propaganda. Everyone, always question everything you see. Why are you seeing this? You know, why is this being shown to me? You know, a good example was CNN posted a video of a man in Gaza going back up north, the north of Gaza, and they translated it saying, he said, if he'd known it was like this, he wouldn't have gone back. You know? But then a woman stitched it, and she said, but that's not what he said. He said before that was, he basically, I don't know exactly, I can't speak Arabic, but she said basically what he said was, people would ask, why would you come back to this?
Yeah.
And we'd rather come back to this than not come back at all.
Yeah.
But they translated it on CNN as him saying, oh, don't come back here. Why would if I had known it was like this bad, I wouldn't have come back. You know, like, it's so easy to kind of fall for propaganda and fall for things, you know, and just always keep your mind open and read, or even listen to audiobooks, listen to podcasts, listen to, you know, just try and keep your brain open and learn. It's fun to learn. Learning is
Reading
fun.
is fun.
Reading is fun. It's so great. It's so much fun. Please don't be stupid.
I've got to wrap up soon. Is there anything like points that you missed off with, like, ghost stuff maybe?
I had a comment once from somebody who said, politics don't matter, it's about the music. And I replied back saying, well, it does matter when the music is also saying, I fucking hate this guy.
Exactly.
So it does matter, you know, like.
I remember, I think it was on election day, I posted this like picture that was like, this country is fucking embarrassing, and it was like a picture of like Copia in like the the crucifixion pose,
Yeah.
and like with the rainbows, like this country is fucking embarrassing. And then like I had someone like comment just being like, oh, like stop trying to like bring politics into this band or whatever, like this great band or some shit. And then I tried to argue with me about it, and then saying like, that it was weird that I did that, and like it's like, oh, why are you like the band isn't even saying this, like, is this a statement from the band? Okay, then shut the fuck up or whatever. And I was like, okay, you want something that came from the band? Bet. And then I just posted pictures of like the art from 20s and like lyrics that literally call it out, and then he went private and blocked me. And it's just like, hey,
I win.
yay. But yeah, final message, stay educated, read books, read banned books.
Stay in school,
Yep.
kids. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Do the right kind. I'm joking.
Stay educated and informed about everything around you. If something doesn't make sense, Google is free. And find out what is going on in your space. And if it's something that bothers you and it's something that you want to work on, there's so many outlets where you can find out things that you can do, whether it's supporting like local groups or contacting local politicians. Just stay informed and do what you can and stay safe.
And you're not alone. Because like
You're
we
not
always talk
alone.
about, there's like secret Trump supporters in Ghost. There's more good people, Ghost fans, than there are bad people that are Ghost fans. Because he constantly talked about the fact that Ghost is for outsiders. Like again, like bringing it back to what we were talking earlier about on the other episode about 7 Inches. Whenever Marion Cross came out, he said about a lot of older fans, being mean to new fans. They're just like you, so be nice to them. It doesn't cost anything to be nice, but like that's the whole point of Ghost. It's for outsiders, and so you're not alone. This is a safe space. It's a safe space for people who need it to be a safe space. It's not a safe space if you sat and argued that Elon Musk didn't throw up a Nazi salute.
They called it a Roman salute or whatever.
Yeah, if suddenly everybody cared about what the Romans did.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? Like, the bitch ain't Roman. The bitch ain't Roman. The bitch ain't from Rome. And bitch, we ain't in Rome. Just shut the fuck up. But yeah.
We love you.
Stay safe. You're not alone. You can always reach me. All you gotta do is call me.
Yeah.
My number is 012. No.
Well, maybe don't call me. Message me. I might take a while to answer, but I swear to God, I will answer.
Drop me a DM.
Yeah, send us a DM. I promise we don't bite. We just may be awkward because we don't understand that people know who we are outside of our friend group. So, but I like to think that we are open to a safe space, that we share a safe space with each other. And if you want to feel safe, we know a lot of people, and our own pages are safe spaces, and we welcome you.
Yeah.
And I say gay.
Yeah.
I love you. I like you.
I am all ears. The Ghost Fandom.